So today we are at a property and we are going to perform a move out inspection. With my inspection, I bring my clipboard with my move out inspection, my phone to take additional photos that are time stamped, and my pad that has the Appfolio app, which will allow me to utilize our template for the coastal region and move quickly through my inspection as well as document notes. So come with me as we do this. As I look through my documents, I have realized that we provided this tenant 6 keys. As you will see, I was only provided 4 keys back. I will make a note on my documents that I am missing 2 keys and further information is needed from the previous tenants, or I must go ahead and relock and rekey the house. One of the first things that we are going to do is to confirm there are utilities and water and if the appliances are working. As you can see, electricity is on. We do have running water. For the microwave, we are going to confirm the light is working, the fan is working, and we're going to test the microwave and ensure that it's working, which as you can see it is. As we come into the kitchen, you will notice the outlet covers in here. One of the items that sparked my attention is all of them have stainless steel covers. As you look through, you will notice there is one that's not quite right. For that, we will document this particular outlet cover, and then we will go back to the office and compare our notes to see if this is something that was done prior with the owner consent or if it was an adjustment made by the tenants. One of the items that we noticed while doing our inspection is the patchwork that was done on the home. As you can see, the tenants attempted to spackle the home. However, the spackling job is not very good, so we are going to have to work out a formula to claim these items to the property tenant. The spackle is very thick and you could almost peel it off here. As you can see, the light switches do not match. We will go back to the office and confirm if this adjustment was approved by the owner or if it was conducted prior to the tenant moving in. Now I'm in the backyard, and as I'm doing my inspection, I noticed a blue light special, which seems a little odd. As you can see, there is an extension cord following here, zip ties along the edge, and a very unique box that really doesn't look like it's up to code. So for the time being, I'm going to unplug this, go back to my documentation, and ensure this was not done by the owner, approved by the owner, or if it may be an addition the tenant has placed. The last thing that I noticed that seemed a little strange in the backyard, and what I want to document, take back to the office and compare my photos, is this hinge and these holes. It does seem that a screen door may have been there before, and I want to make sure this was not approved by the owner, this was not done prior to the tenants moving in, or if it was something the tenants decided to do. Now then I'm going to take all my notes, all the photos that I took, and I'm going to go back to the office, compare my move-in photos, my move-out photos, and document what items are considered tenant damage, wear and tear, and what may be the owner's responsibility.
We've arrived at another property to conduct a move-out inspection. My initial observations after arriving at this property are that likely we'll need to order a lawn service right away. Also, though we appreciate the tenants possibly attempting to power wash the driveway and walkway, it's likely we will need to ask the owners to have the driveway and walkways power washed before we're able to market the property and move another tenant in. At this property, all of the keys were returned by the tenants. Unfortunately, the tenants have vacated prior to the end of their lease term, so they will be responsible for the rent until we're able to re-rent the property with the owner's authorization, of course. Sometimes tenants forget to remove all of their items from the property. As you can see, there is some play equipment that has been left behind. Because the tenants did return all of the keys to the property, we know that this is an item that we will have to have removed prior to remarketing. While walking through the property, I'm making sure to document everything I notice in Appfolio remotely on my move-out inspection template that I have assigned to this specific property. One of the items I'm making sure to notate are light bulbs, and as you can see, one light bulb in this bathroom is burned out. I will definitely make sure to notate that on the security deposit claim, and it has been fully documented on my move-out inspection report. At the last property, we checked that the utilities and the water were on, and I'm doing that again here. However, this property has a garbage disposal. So as I'm documenting that the water is working, I also want to document if the garbage disposal is working, and you can hear it's not. So in my picture, I want to make sure that I have a thumbs down. I've taken the shot, and I've notated on Appfolio that that's an area that needs to be addressed. Also, we have a second sink. I want to make sure that there are no leaks and everything is in working order. Perfect. This property appears to have been returned to us in pretty good condition. There are minimal damages that I've notated. However, looking at the backyard, I am a bit concerned about the condition. So I'm gonna make sure to notate it on my report and check the move-in photos to see what the lawn looked like when these tenants moved in. As you've seen, I am making sure to document my move-out inspection through Appfolio. The move-in inspection for this property was documented on paper. So I'm making sure to compare the notes of the move-in with my move-out inspection as I go. Eventually, I'll be able to just use my smart device to compare the move-in and move-out inspections because all of them will be in Appfolio, and this will save me a lot of time. Something else that will save time is to have a nice list of exactly what pictures we should be making sure to document. If possible, we would like to take some marketing photos as well while we're here at the property. This list itemizes each room and the items that I should be documenting as I go. This is a helpful tool to be sure that we get all the pictures we need, all the documentation we require, and will save us time once we get back to the office.
Now that I'm back in the office, my next step is to sit down and have a phone conversation with the owner. I want to set up clear expectations regarding the security deposit claim. I also want to discuss the paint that was conducted to the property. If you recall, the paint spackle was beyond normal wear and tear. Because this is going to be required to be sanded, respackled, retextured, and repainted, we do feel that this is going to be a tenant responsibility. However, due to depreciation value, it would not be fair for a tenant to pay for the full cost. So I want to make sure that my owner understands the situation that shall take place. Perfect. Great. Thank you, Mr. Owner. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you. I am going to go ahead and follow up with an email confirming our conversation. If you could please respond to me and let me know that you agree to the terms and conditions that we just spoke about. Okay. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye. Perfect. I just got off the phone with the owner and set up all the expectations regarding the repairs. I discussed not only the wear and tear, but the tenant damage. I also asked the owner to send me an owner contribution so that I am able to go ahead and get this work done. I explained to the owner that he will be reimbursed for the work if the tenant agrees to the terms with the security deposit. But I want to make sure I set a clear ground for him to understand that any repairs that are disputed, or if we agree to any other terms during the security deposit claim, that he would be responsible. So now I'm going to go ahead, send an email to recap the conversation, and continue to move forward.
Now that we've received our email confirmation from the owner that they're in agreement with our recommendations, I'm going to go back into AppFolio and enter in my work orders through my move-out inspection. As you can see on this move-out inspection, I have 4 red flags, which means I have 4 areas of concern. So I'm going to go back into my move-out inspection. I'm going to go up to the Actions tab, and I'm going to select Create Work Order. Now my 4 areas of concern pop up, and I can pick one at a time to go in and create a work order so that I can have these issues addressed one by one.
We received notification that all the work was completed at the property, and I went by to inspect to be sure it was up to our specifications. Now I'm going to take the invoices, our other supporting documents, and the pictures to create my security deposit claim form, which will be the final form that is mailed to the tenant. I open up my security deposit claim form document and input the numbers that are itemized on the document specific to what my supporting documents show. The first item I'm going to use is the tenant ledger, the most recent tenant ledger that reflects the exact charges still owed by the tenant, and I'm going to fill in my security deposit claim form in accordance with this ledger. I'm also going to fill in any of the areas where I need to account for the repairs and the cleaning and any work that was done at the property that has been deemed tenant responsibility. Those totals will be the exact totals that are provided on my invoices. If there was work completed by a vendor and a portion was the tenant's responsibility and another portion was deemed the owner's responsibility, we definitely want to make sure that the invoice reflects the separated costs, or we have a separate invoice for tenant expense and a separate invoice for owner expense, because of course we're only going to send to the tenant what they are responsible for. I've used my pictures to compare before and after, and I filled out my security deposit claim form. So I'm ready to print and create my packet that will be sent to the tenant. So I've printed my security deposit claim form, and I'm going to make sure that that's the document that's on top. Beneath it, I'm going to start with my lease. Any portion of the lease that is applicable to the charges on the security deposit claim form, I have highlighted with asterisks so that the tenant can see exactly why they were charged for the items they were charged for. Next, I'm going to put my printout of the most recent tenant ledger and circle the charges that are pending that are also indicated on the claim form. Following those will be any invoices that the tenant has been charged for, and the exact amounts that the tenants were charged for are reflected on the invoices and match the claim form. Finally, I'm going to provide any pictures that are dated and time-stamped for the move-in and the move-out specific to the charges that the tenant is responsible for. Any other supporting documents should be included in your packet to the tenants as well. Sometimes there aren't many charges to a claim, so we're able to send the claim certified in a regular standard envelope. This claim form is a bit larger, so we're going to definitely use a larger envelope. I'm going to put all of the paperwork inside. And make sure that it's mailed out certified. Something that I haven't mentioned is that I made sure prior to printing my claim form that I saved it on the drive under the property as well as to the AppFolio page for the tenant. The reason I did this is because we need to keep a record of exactly what the claim was that was sent out in the event that we need to revise it later. We have a copy of the working document and it's easily accessible for everyone in the office.
And now it's time for a little questions and answers with both Barbara Stewart and Jessica Foster.
So Barbara, what are a couple of reasons a property manager might need to revise a security deposit claim form?
This is a great question, Jessica. There are 3 popular reasons why a property manager would need to send a revision security deposit claim. The first reason is, what if a tenant moves out early and breaks their lease? This example, we would go ahead and claim the security deposit for the entire term remaining on the lease. However, at times we find tenants a lot sooner before the lease ends and a revision is needed. The second example is if repairs are greater than the security deposit and or if the repairs are going to take longer than 30 days, we will go ahead and send estimates for these repairs, and once we receive the invoices from our vendors, we will send a revision security deposit claim. The third reason is a dispute. Sometimes tenants and landlords disagree with the security deposit claim, and this reason we would negotiate with both tenant and owner, and once terms and conditions were set, we would send a revision for the security deposit claim.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If I'm the tenant and my rent is $1,000 a month and I vacate 6 months prior to my lease expiration, on my security deposit claim form, it's going to say I still owe $6,000 in rent?
Yes, Jessica, that is correct. And that is exactly why we would revise the security deposit claim once a new tenant is found, because as you know, according to Florida statute, we cannot double charge rent.
Well, you're such a fabulous property manager that when you rent the property within the month that I vacate, I can then expect a revision to reflect that at least 5 of those months were removed along with any of the prorated days, correct?
Correct.
Wonderful. Also, I was just wondering, if I receive a security deposit claim form as the tenant that indicates $200 will be allocated to the repair of the screen door that I destroyed, And then the invoice comes in from the vendor indicating it was only $180 for that repair. What happens to the other $20? Does it go to the owner?
That is a great question. This would be another example on why we would send a revision for the security deposit. It would not be fair for a tenant to not receive that $20 because the owner did not pay the full $200.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. And then finally, I was just wondering if I disputed my security deposit claim form on the 16th day after I received it in the mail, could I expect that the form would be revised in accordance with what my dispute was?
That is another great question. Unfortunately, Jessica, you would not be able to expect this to be revised. According to Florida statute, a tenant has 15 days from the time of receipt to dispute the security deposit claim. If they do not, according to Florida statute, they do agree to the terms and conditions.
Darn, I should have read my claim form more thoroughly. Of course, I am a fabulous tenant, and in the event that I leave the home in perfect condition and there will be no charges claimed against my security, how quick could I expect to see that check in the mail?
Great question. According to Florida law, a tenant will receive the security deposit funds within 15 days if full deposit is due to the tenant. We at Watson, we try to release the funds within 10 business days.
I'm so glad I rented from Watson.
Me too. So after we have our inspection done, the work has been completed, it's time to get the property back on the market. And the first thing that we need to do is get the sign in the yard. This includes making sure the HOA regulations allows our standard Watson sign, or like this one, we have to purchase a special sign to include everything that the HOA requires.
This home is not located in an area with any HOA restrictions. Therefore, we can use a standard Watson sign for marketing this property.